What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers have finally started training camp after the kind of most dead time of the year for Steeler fans after the voluntary minicamps and rookie minicamps. We took some time off. We are now officially, as of yesterday, back into training camp. I wanted to make a quick video talking about the positional battles and fun things to look for. Basically, players that are kind of fighting for spots or fighting for potential playing time or starting spots or rotational spots. So I broke down, and I have 8 different positions here that I wanted to look at, the most intriguing kind of positional battles and storylines to look for coming into the season. As we've started yesterday with our training camp, I want to kind of examine the most intriguing positional spots for the Steelers coming in. Some bits of news coming out of yesterday, and just kind of taking a look at where we stand to be as preseason starts in about, 4 or 5 weeks? And the first one is the most obvious. We've got the quarterback situation. I think QB3 is kind of locked up with Kyle, but looking at our starting quarterback situation, it looks and stands to reason that Russell Wilson is our number 1 and Justin Fields is our number 2, but again, both guys have major upside. Justin Fields has the youth. Justin Fields has an absolute cannon for an arm. He is probably the second best quarterback athlete in the position in the NFL behind Lamar Jackson. He is a crazy playmaker. Russell Wilson is getting older and slowing down a bit, but still for his age, even in Denver, producing pretty well. He's still got a strong arm himself. He's a good leader. He's a good decision maker. He's overcome a lot of his own things. So you got 2 quarterbacks here on dirt cheap deals. Our 2 quarterbacks put together are worth like $2.6 million. Denver, of course, paying paying Russell Wilson. I think Chicago's still paying Justin Fields. But we are lucky to have 2 guys here with such big upside and such big upgrades from last season. The thing now becomes, does Justin Fields exponentially outplay Russell Wilson or vice versa? So looking at the QB battle, there's been some rumors they're going to put Justin Fields in some different packages, do some Wildcat type stuff, do some running stuff. I imagine we'll see him on some gadget plays, some end arounds, maybe some Wildcats, some goal line, things like that. So to see where they put Justin Fields in, how they use him. I know that he's talked about kick returns in the past. Madden's put him in as a kick returner on their game trailer. So we'll see what happens there. My money right now is on Russell Wilson, but you can't count on Justin Fields. And seeing what we're going to do to build for the future, because Justin Fields is a lot younger, but also requires a much bigger contract for the future. So who's going to be our starting quarterback? And how are they going to use Justin if Russell is the starting quarterback is very interesting to me. Number 2, let's go to running back. We're looking at kind of the running back 3 situation, because I think it's obvious coming into next year that Najee Harris is 1A and Jaylen Warren is 1B. There's been some talk about Jaylen Warren surpassing Najee Harris as the better overall running back. He was the better overall back last year. Jaylen Warren is a very underrated and fluid playmaker. As a pass catcher, as a blocker, as a runner, the dude is just a beast. He has outplayed his situation as an undrafted free agent for sure. But Najee Harris can't be understated, the fact that he's been in the NFL 3 years and got 3,000-yard seasons and played pretty well, and now we've got a better line in front of him as well. So I expect big things out of both guys. Whether or not Warren surpasses Najee is yet to be seen, but either way, Najee and Warren are your 1A and 1B, not even 1 and 2, but 1A and 1B. The question now becomes, what happens at running back 3? We did sign Cordero Patterson to come into this system and kind of be a third running back, but he's done a lot of things. He's a kick returner, he's a punt returner, he is a gadget guy, he is a former wide receiver who still plays, catches the ball out of the backfield a lot, so he can kind of be a wide receiver out of the backfield. He can be a slot receiver at times for certain plays. He was in the Arthur Smith offense in Atlanta for several years, so is he going to be more of a gadget guy, more of a return guy? He's not going to run the ball a ton, but because of the fact that he's not really a pure running back in this system, and the fact that he's been injured the entire time, he has not played in camp or didn't play yesterday at the start of regular training camp. It's a non-injury. It's not an injury. It's a non-injury, hasn't performed yet. So some kind of personal issue, something with maybe his family, maybe it's a mental health thing, I don't know. They have not said what has kept Cordero Patterson out yet so far, but he's missed all of the voluntary camps, and he missed yesterday. So you got this third-string guy who's guaranteed to make the roster if he can play, but you can kind of keep him as a specialist, and if he's not been out there, it opens the door for more of a traditional running back to come in and be running back 3. Even if Patterson does stay, again, he can be a return guy. You look at someone like Dejon Edwards from Georgia. He was Georgia's starting running back last year. The dude is one of the best steals, in my opinion, of the undrafted free agent period. Pittsburgh picks him up as an undrafted free agent. He's a good between the tackles guy. His footwork is underrated. He can run through contact. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I even saw him do a little bit of blocking. The dude is one of the better undrafted running backs and a guy that I had a higher grade on. I didn't really put him in a round-for-round grade, but I'd say a 4th-round running back, someone like that. I think the dude's got a lot of game, and if he is playing consistently and starts making some waves in training camp, with Patterson not being there, you start to look at possibly keeping the undrafted free agent on the rookie deal for the next 4 years. Dude could be a steal, and I think Dejon Edwards is one of the guys to look out for in training camp. I like that pickup a lot. The next big thing is our wide receiver depth chart, right? Because we know for sure that 4 guys are going to make it, probably 5 that are locks, right? So George Pickens, Calvin Austin, the rookie Roman Wilson, and Van Jefferson. I think those 4 guys are guaranteed to make the roster. Van Jefferson special teams is a deep ball threat, is physical as an outside guy. You know, you got your inside guys who are fast and run routes. Calvin Austin still won his rookie deal. Roman Wilson drafted this year. George Pickens is your obvious number 1 this year. Those 4 guys definitely make it. And then Quez Watkins, you would think, has a good chance to make it. You're keeping at least 5 for sure, so Quez or Scotty Miller are 2 guys to look at as your 5th guy. If you keep 6, you're keeping both those guys probably. But not only are we looking at the end of the depth chart, right, who becomes, after Pickens and Austin and Wilson, who becomes your clear, your 4, 5, maybe even 6 guy, but who becomes really your outside wide receiver 2. It is our biggest lacking position on the offense by far, and really on the entire team. We know, again, George Pickens is your 1, and some combination of Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson plays as your 3. I think it's time to look at one of those guys as being an outside receiver to see what we can do. Can Roman Wilson play outside, or can Calvin Austin make the transition with his routes to becoming a faster, shiftier Deontay? Can he be your number 2? But I think based on numbers right now and based on who's played so far in all the pre-camps and stuff, Van Jefferson being your physical outside big guy makes the most sense as your number 2, and then you put Wilson and Calvin Austin as your 3 and 4. But seeing who's going to emerge between like Scotty Miller, Quez Watkins, and Van Jefferson as your number 2, and what they choose to do, can someone step up and play alongside George Pickens? I really want Roman Wilson to develop, and I really want Calvin Austin. I'm pulling for him more than any other receiver on this team. So who's going to be the outside wide receiver 2, and who's going to fill out the end of the depth chart is going to be interesting here. We've kept 6 a lot in the past, and I can see us keeping, Austin, Pickens, Wilson, Quez, Jefferson, and Scotty Miller. And if one of those guys doesn't make it, it's between Quez and Scotty, honestly. But who's going to be your 2 and who's going to fill the end of the depth chart out is a big storyline coming into the year. Positional battle, big time here. Offensive line, Troy Fautanu versus Dan Moore. Pittsburgh doesn't like to throw rookies in there right away. I think at center, we obviously have to start off with the rookie right away. I think it's clear the rookie center is by far and away better than our backups there, so I think he has to start. Troy Fautanu, though, he was going up against it because they don't like to start 2 rookies or really start any rookies at all over veterans if they can help it. And Fautanu has not been as standout as we would have hoped in the voluntary minicamps and the rookie minicamps. So I think they like Dan Moore more than a lot of us journalists and fans do. I think Fautanu should start from day 1 personally. I'm hoping that happens. We've already seen Dan Moore's ceiling. He can be okay, but he also causes a lot of mishaps and things, penalties and just regressions. I would rather see Fautanu start day 1, but because he's a rookie, because they like Moore, and because Fautanu has not flashed and shown us a lot of what the center has or the other guys on the line have, Fautanu versus Moore is a closer battle than we expect. I think Dan Moore may start week 1, even week 2 and 3, and some point in the first 3 to 4 weeks, we then see Fautanu come in full time. I'm cheering for Fautanu personally, but I think Moore winds up winning this battle, but it's an interesting one to watch going forward. Then we go over to the defense. I have 4 positional battles on the defense. Number 1, I have a 3-way battle for who's going to emerge as your clear backup D-line. Who are going to be the guys that earn those backup spots, that work themselves into the rotation. We know that it's Cam, Ogunjobi, and Benton. Those are your clear starters. Then behind them, we have Dean Lowry, Isaiah Loudermilk, DeMarvin Leal, Montravis Adams, Braden Fehoko. Those 5 guys essentially are fighting for 3 spots, maybe 4. You got about 9 guys fighting for 7 spots max here. But especially on the outside of the D-line, what are they going to do behind Cam and Ogunjobi? Because Ogunjobi is expensive and he's on the last year of his deal, really, and Cam is going to retire very soon. I think this probably is Cam's last year. So I think next year, alongside Benton, you're looking at 2 other starters, whether Benton stays inside or goes outside. Who's going to emerge as being your other starters? You have Dean Lowry, who we signed from Green Bay. Good starter, very solid veteran, clear number 4 best lineman in my opinion, but he's on the PUP list. He came into practice hurt. I don't know what happened, but he's on the PUP list. So that opens the door now for DeMarvin Leal in his last year, for Isaiah Loudermilk, who's been solid. These guys have been good in spots. Loudermilk even better than Leal, but Leal's got more pedigree, Loudermilk's got more plays, but both are inconsistent. So do one of those guys step up? Can Montravis Adams play well enough inside, or Braden Fehoko play well enough at the nose tackle spot to bump Benton outside? Benton can be the new Cam on the outside. Lots of things to look at, but the names I'm looking at in particular are Lowry versus Loudermilk versus Leal. Who emerges? Is DeMarvin gone? Can Loudermilk be consistent? Let's see. Inside linebacker, we have a fight for the number 2 spot because Patrick Queen is our obvious franchise guy we signed from Baltimore. He's your clear number 1. Cole Holcomb is still hurt. He's on the PUP list. There's a very good chance he's not playing for the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season. He's still hurt. He's going to miss some substantial time. So with those 2 guys being what they are, Queen is your 1, Holcomb's going to be out. Now you've suddenly got a battle for who's your number 2. Peyton Wilson versus Landon Roberts. What makes it interesting is Peyton Wilson has looked very good as a rookie in the camp so far. He was the clear best linebacker in the league this year, the rookie in college coming into the NFL, I should say. Would have been a first-round pick if not for his injury. We stole him mid-3rd round. I like this guy a whole lot. Tackling machine, fast, motor, can cover. Landon Roberts does the opposite things of what Wilson does. He's not that fast. He's not a cover guy, but he's a consistent tackler. He's physical. He's strong. He's a big, wide beast who's got a motor. Goes after the running backs in the backfield, can go after the quarterback as a blitzer. They've got very different games. And Peyton Wilson, again, total pedigree out of college, absolute monster, what we need out there. And I think there's something really flashy and fun to think about from where our inside linebackers have been since Ryan Shazier has been gone, from Devin Bush and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden we've got the potential of Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson playing together, the speed, the coverage, the explosiveness. But because he's been so good and he does different things than a Landon Roberts, it's been interesting to watch. But you think Queen and Roberts can kind of complete each other and be the veteran versions of what a full assignment for an inside linebacker does, with Roberts playing so well last year, but also having some injuries too. So interesting to see who emerges as kind of your more full-time linebacker too as the season goes on. It's going to be obvious, I think, that your starters coming into the season are Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts. But as Holcomb gets healthy and Peyton Wilson continues to make plays and emerge and be a name to watch in camp, what happens in week 4, 5, 6, 7 as you get those 2 extra names coming along? Then we have the slot corner spot. It is our biggest problem on defense by far. We know on the outside we're going to get Joey Porter Jr. on the outside and Dante Jackson on the outside. We did sign Cam Sutton to be our main slot guy. Good deal from Detroit, but he's suspended for 8 games due to whatever the potential domestic violence or crimes outside of the league. Suspended for 8 games. Punishment fits the crime. If he did it, it's a worthy punishment. But he's missing half the season, which means for us that we are now back to square one as it comes to slot cornerback. Behind Porter and Jackson, you don't have anything surely as your number 3 corner. If you want to say Jackson goes into the 3rd spot and you can trust a Darius Rush or Corey Trice on the outside, I love both those guys and I want to see those guys come along. But right now, they're pretty unproven as far as full-time NFL guys. Rush made a few plays in preseason, but hasn't played full-time in regular season. And Trice is coming off of high pedigree potential as a 7th-round pick last year, who was drafted lower than he should have been, but season-ending injury last year, didn't play in the NFL at all. So nothing really for sure behind the two main guys out there. The battle right now is Anthony Averett, the free agent signing from Baltimore, to come into practice, and then he got signed. He got signed to a contract. Beanie Bishop, who was our undrafted free agent, the best cornerback that was undrafted, we picked up in our undrafted section. And Darius Rush, who's more of an outside guy, I think, but can play inside due to his size. So Rush, Bishop, and Averett, who's going to stand out? Which one of these young untapped potential guys can make it? We've seen Bishop play pretty well in college and be an underrated guy to sign. Anthony Averett's made some plays for the Ravens, has started in the NFL before, and Darius Rush has a high pedigree as a 4th-round pick last year, made some preseason plays, got cut, bounced around, played for us a little bit last year, nothing bad but nothing special. Now one of those guys has to stand out and become our new standout outside guy, unless we can bump Jackson inside and hope for Rush or Trice to play well or outside so that he can play inside. So there's a bunch of names and not a bunch of proven veteran leadership behind Cam Sutton. So until the 8 games are up, we got to figure out who our slot corner is going to be. I would like for Rush to come in and play well on the inside, hopefully, but I also want to see what Beanie Bishop can do. Then we have one final positional battle. That's at safety. We know Minkah Fitzpatrick is back there as our all-pro, one of the best in the entire league, but he has been playing kind of by himself for the last several years, and he's been getting hurt a lot more. So you need consistency out there at safety. We do have a pretty good number 2 and number 3. Damontae Kazee has been a previous NFL leader in picks. He's played well in the past. Played pretty well the last couple seasons here in Pittsburgh, but nothing special. He's been hurt a little bit. He's slowed down a little bit, but he still makes plays here and there. And we also signed Deshaun Elliott from the Ravens to come in and kind of be a starter and be a thumper. Both these guys play differently. Deshaun Elliott is a tackler and a hitter, and he's more your physical safety. And KZ is more your coverage safety. So they do different things. Which side will emerge and play alongside Minkah and allow Minkah to roam around and do kind of the Troy thing where he can blitz a little bit, he can gamble in a little bit, do some different things. So who's going to solidify themselves as your backup safety or as your second safety? And will the 3 of them play well enough together that you can have maybe a Deshaun Elliott in the box and have 3 safety packages out there? So watching KZ versus Elliott at safety is going to be interesting. So those are the 8 spots, 4 on offense, 4 on defense, positional battles, things to watch, camp standouts. What do you think? Tell me in the comments down below. What do you think of my choices, and did I miss any? Tell me who you're looking at in those choices and who's going to win the battles that I've talked about here on my page today. Please like, share, and subscribe this video if you like these Steeler deep dives, and I'll be coming back to you guys very soon with more camp stories and standouts as the stories progress. We're on day 2 right now. They're in camp in the 2nd day as I record this. I'll bring you guys more stories coming very soon. Go Steelers. Take care.